obviously always a step ahead of me. And he called me once. I remember I was at Warner's, and he said, I think it was around the time he was getting ready to do Linden. And he said, do you have any of those special BNC cameras that we used for rear process? I said, why? He said, well, you know, I sort of sentimental reasons I started out on them. I'd love to buy one from you if I could get one. So I called the camera department and I said, do you have any of those? And they said, yeah, we've got a couple of those. I called Stanley back. I said, yeah, I've got a couple. He said, I'd love to get those cameras. I mean, I just, you know, admire the workmanship. So I said, great. So I sent him off one of those, or maybe two of them, I can't remember. About 6 months later, Gottschalk, who ran Panavision for us and who was a sort of certified camera and opticals genius, called and said, why are you sending those rear projection cameras to Stanley Kubrick? I said, because he asked for them. I mean, they sit down there. We don't use rear projection anymore. We're doing front projection. He said, they're priceless. They are the most fantastic works that were ever put in a camera. They are brilliantly conceived and brilliantly executed camera works. You could never build a camera like that if your life depended on it. He said, I want to get every one I can because I can't duplicate the work that went into it. Stanley had anticipated it and acquired them and built his own cameras.
He looked for old-fashioned Mitchell BNC cameras for a very specific reason. These were the only cameras, to his knowledge, where he had a chance of fitting these big Zeiss lenses.
And Stanley sent me this lens and said, could I mount it on his BNC camera? I said, Stanley, it's absolutely impossible because the BNC has 2 shutters, a thick aperture plate, and all that between the film plane and the rear element of the lens. And so I explained that to Stanley and said we would have to damn near wreck your camera and make it purely dedicated to do this. And he said, fine, go ahead and do it. It originally was a lens manufactured, designed, developed, and manufactured by Zeiss for NASA. And of course, NASA was planned to use it in satellite photography. And for that reason, it's an extremely fast lens. It's an f0.7, which is 2 stops faster than the fastest lenses that are available even today. Of course, Stanley's intention for these lenses was to shoot the famous candlelit scenes in Barry Linden. And that being the case, he shot with the lenses wide open, f0.7. And as a consequence of that, he had practically no depth of field at all. And it was quite a chore to do it, but of course, the images were absolutely gorgeous.
I think Stanley would have a concept of one